8월 19일 9시 28분.
Chapter 3. The Goose with the Golden Eggs.
There once was a man who had a very fine goose. Every day the goose laid a golden egg. The man soon became rich. But as he became rich, he became greedy. The goose must be gold inside, he thought to himself. I will open her and get all the gold at once. So he killed the goose, but he found no gold. The man cried and said, I should have been happy with the golden egg each day. Sometimes greed makes people do foolish things.
The Bear and the Travelers.
One day, two men were traveling together. They suddenly come across a bear. One of the men climbed quickly into a tree and tried to hide himself among its branches. The other man fell down and lay on the ground. When the bear came up and smelled him all over, the bear soon left him, because, as many people say, a bear will not touch a dead body. When the bear had gone, the traveler in the tree came down to join his friend. As the little joke, he asked, What did the bear whisper? In your ear, his friend answered, very seriously. He told me, never travel with a friend who runs away when danger comes. A true friend is with you in good times and bad times. There once was a young shepherd boy watching the sheep all day by himself. So one day he thought of a plan to have some fun. He ran down to the village calling out, Wolf, wolf. The kind villagers came out to help him, and some of them stayed with him for a while. This made the boy very happy. He decided to try the trick again a few days later. Again he ran to the village shouting, Wolf, wolf. Again the villagers came to help him, but they didn't see any wolves. But shortly after this, the wolf really did come out. Soon louder than before, wolf, wolf. But the villager had been tricked twice before. They thought the boy was fooling them again, because none of them went to help the boy. The wolf ate all his sheep. No one believes a liar even when they tell the truth. A farmer's daughter was carrying a pail of milk I can make some money from. Selling this milk, he thought, that money will be enough to buy at least 300 eggs. The eggs will produce about 250 chickens. When the chickens grow, I will sell them
to party.
to Paris.
All the best young men will ask me to marry them. But I will refuse all the men and just enjoy the parties.
The young woman was enjoying her thoughts so much she didn't see a stone on the road. She dropped the pail of milk. The milk disappeared into the ground top, taking away all of her plans. Do not count your chickens before they are hatched.
The boys and the frogs. One day,
A group of boys were playing by the side of a small lake. Some of the boys threw stones into the water for fun. A lot of frogs lived in this little lake, and they kept getting hit by the stones the boys threw. Finally, a wise old frog put his head up out of the water and said, "Boys, please don't throw stones at us. We are only playing," said the boy. "I know that," said the frog, "but your stones hurt us. You may throw stones for fun, but your fun causes us great pain." One person's pleasure may in another's pain.
The miser.
A miser sold most of his land to buy a shiny piece of gold. He burned the gold in the ground by an old wall and went to look at it every day. One day, one of his workers saw the miser going to the wall and followed him, so the worker discovered the secret of the hid. The next day, the miser found that his gold had been stolen. The miser cried in anger and said, the neighbor saw the miser crying and found out what was wrong. He said, "Please don't cry so much. You should go and get a stone, bury it in the ground, and pretend the stone is the piece of gold. It will be just the same as when the gold was there, because you never did anything with the gold when you had it. The true value of money is not having it, but using it wisely."
Chapter 4. The Ants and the Grasshopper.
The ant and the grasshopper lived in the same big flat. The ant always worked hard and tried to prepare and harvest enough food for winter. Their happy neighbor, the grasshopper, couldn't understand them. He just in the party of the grasshopper. One winter day, the ants were buzzing, spreading their grain in the sun to dry.
So he
The
went to the
grasshopper
ants
was nearly dry with hunger, so he went to the ants to ask for some food. Good day to you, kind neighbor, said the grasshopper. Don't you lend me a little food?
I will
I
certainly
will certainly repay you before this time next year.
Why
Why
don't
don't
you
you
have
have
any
any
food?
food,
Asked an old
food
ant.
of your own? Asked
There was a
an
lot of
old
food in
ant.
the big field
There was a
all
lot
summer,
of food in the big plate all summer. What did you do?
said the grasshopper.
Oh, said the
Forgetting his
grasshopper, forgetting his hunger.
I
I
sang
sang all day
long,
long and all night long.
Well
Well
then,
then, said the ant,
if you can
sing all summer, you
should
should dance
all
all winter.
back to her work,
And
singing
the and the old ant went back to her work, singing the ant song. We ants never borrow, we ants never lend. Forget to prepare for bad time even during good times.
The ant and the dove. An ant was walking by the river
One day and said to himself, how nice the cool this water looks. I must drink some of it. As oh somebody please help me or I will die, cried the ant. A dove sitting in a tree over his river heard him and threw him a leaf. Climb upon the leaf, said the dove, and you will float to the riverside. The ant climbed up the leaf, and the wind blew it to the shore. Thank you, kind dove, said the ant as he went home. You have saved my life, and I wish I could do something for you. Goodbye, said the dove. Be careful not to fall in again. A few days later, when the dove was building her nest, the ant ran quickly and beat the nest foot very hard. He cried, oh, oh, and dropped his gun. This surprised the dove, and she flew away. After the huntress was gone, the dove came back to her nest. Thank you, my little friend, she said. You have saved my life. The little ant jumped for joy because he had been able to help the kind dove. One kind act brings another.
The Frog and the Ox.
One day, an ox was walking in a wet field. He ate family and killed most of them. However, one escaped and ran off quickly to his mother. Oh, mother, he said, while we were playing, a really big, fur-footed animal stopped on us. Big? Asked the old frog. How big? She sucked in air to make herself larger and said, as big as this? Oh, said the little frog, much, much bigger than that. Well, was it this big? She sucked in even more air. Oh, mother, it was much bigger than that. So please stop sucking in air. You might hurt yourself. The mother frog didn't like her little one to bout her built, so she tried again to become bigger, but this time she tried so hard that her body exploded. Overconfidence in your abilities can lead to personal distraction.
The wind and the sun.
Long ago, the wind and the sun were talking to each other. They could not decide who was stronger than the other. To answer the question, they agreed to try something. Watching a passing traveler, they decided to see which of them could take off the man's coat first. The wind began to blow, a cold and powerful wind, but the stronger the wind blew, the tighter the man held onto his coat. Finally, he sat down and took off his coat. It was clear that his son had won. Kindness can be stronger than harshness.
The oak and the reed.
On the side of a river grew a tall oak tree. The stood with its roots firmly in the ground. How strong I am! Nothing can make me bow. I am taller and stronger than all the other trees. But one day there was a storm. The strong wind came and struck the pond oak. The tree fell into the river. As the water carried it away, it passed by a thin reed that grew on the riverside.
Why didn't you break when the wind came?
Wind came. You were so little and weak. Oh, poor tree, said the reed. I bent and moved until the wind had passed. It must go where it is sent by. It will not hurt those who are not proud. Sometimes you have to bend low to success.
The axe and the trees.
Once upon a time, a man went to a forest. He asked the trees if they would give him some wood to make a handle for his axe. The trees thought his was very little to ask. They gave him 4 pieces of hard wood, but as soon as the man fit the handle to his axe, he started to cut down all the best trees in the forest. As they crashed painfully to the ground, the trees said sadly to each other, "We suffer became of our foolishness. Only a fool would give their enemy the tools to destroy them." The rose and amaranth blossomed side by side in the garden. One nice summer day, the Amber and
Now I
said
understand
to
why
its
everyone
neighbor,
wants you.
I envy your beauty and your
Wonder what
sweet
exactly?
smell.